we've got to get through our best bet gauntlet. JT, we did this all last year, had a remarkable winning record on a sample size of over 220 bets. We managed to go 59%, which, ask any professional bettor, that's quit your job territory. We're not going to quit our job because, sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're cold. Maybe if we do it a couple years in a row, maybe then we'll just make this a gambling podcast and quit our jobs and become professional touts. But until then, we're going to continue to try to stay hot, continue to try to make money this season. If you are not familiar with the Best Bet Gauntlet, it is a competition between JT and I. We go back and forth each week drafting 5 teams each, 5 sides each. We're betting sides only, no totals, no parlays, no teasers, no round robins, no props. We're doing just sides in this competition until we get to the playoffs. Then we'll add in some more fun, but sides only to make it as hard as possible, to make it as relevant to the people as possible. So in total, we're picking 10 games back and forth and competing head to head each week, 5 games each by the end of the season, regular season. That is, whoever has we did the full season, didn't we? No. Yes. For the competition?
Yes.
Okay, so just kidding. All season long, we are competing head-to-head in that Best Bet Gauntlet. And some of the rules we need to establish for folks that want to bet along with us, because again, we made a lot of money last year. You should join us. Join the party. We post these bets on a graphic on our social media accounts at Hot Read Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok on Sunday. So we don't lock these. We're locking them in, but not locking them in until Sunday. The only reason we're going to change what we say today and what we go with on Sunday is if a quarterback could get, some massive injury news happens between now and then, and it changes the math in the game. So typically what we say on Thursday is what we're going with. We are this season adding in a new rule because line movement in finding the best of the line during the week is so important in betting. We're going to be allowed, both of us as a show, to lock in lines from earlier in the week on Tuesday and Wednesday, not before the end of the week. So after Monday Night Football, that's when we can start looking at lines. And if we like a line, you'll have to follow us on social media to get in on the action. We'll throw it out early if we think it's going to be a line that moves. For example, a line that I threw out this week, the Kansas City line. As soon as we heard about Travis Kelce's injury, that line jumped from 6.5 to 5.5, and I expected it to continue to go down. It did. We grabbed it at 5.5, locked it in on Tuesday, I believe. And the show now, whichever of us decides to draft the Chiefs is going to, or the Chiefs or the Lions is going to have that number available to them. So if you want to join us in betting the best of the number, follow us on social media at JT_Runke and at Easton Freeze to get those lines during the week. And then beyond that, I think that's pretty much it. Can't duplicate. Obviously, we've got to have 5 different sides. On occasion, we'll go head to head in the game, and somebody will be wrong and somebody will be right. But without further ado, JT, as the loser of last year's Best Bet Gauntlet, I did, in fact, beat him. You are afforded the first pick in the Best Bet Gauntlet draft. What would you like to go with, sir?
This one seems pretty easy to me. I'm going to take the best line, I think, out there right now, in my opinion.
Okay.
Taking the Tennessee Titans +3.
Fitting on a Tennessee Titans show.
As they go down to New Orleans. Look, Mike Vrabel is just insane against the spread. 23-15-1 against the spread as an underdog, which is good for 61%. And then 22-9-1 against the spread as a dog of 3 or more, which is good for 71%. And then as well, 14-6-1 against the spread as a road dog of 3 or more, which is also 71%, covering by almost 5 points a game.
Having a winning record as an underdog just outright is kind of funny in its own right. Like when he's supposed to not win, he wins more than he loses. So that's pretty good for betting, I think. Taking him as a dog, not a bad idea.
And especially with this line basically being a pick-em, just with the +3 for the home field advantage really baked in here. This is really a pick-em, and I'm thinking the Titans are going to win this game, so that's why I'm taking that line.
Yeah, I agree. I do. I want to, super betting nerd, want to correct you one quick thing. And you know this because we talked about this, but I hate on shows that talk about betting tangentially, how they talk about, 3 is the home field advantage, so really it's a pick 'em. It's not, actually. It used to be the case, and that's how books used to estimate it. And the home field advantage has kind of changed in the NFL, but in today's NFL, with our advanced metrics, home field on average is actually about 2.1 points. It varies like 0.3 points up or down, depending on your stadium. The Titans don't have quite the home field advantage the Chiefs or the Seahawks or the Packers do. but they've got a better home field advantage than the Chargers do, for example. So it's about 2.1, but you're right. It is essentially a pick 'em. It's less than a 1-point game when you factor in that 2.1 point home field advantage. My first pick, JT, and folks know we make money on this show by going with the ugly dogs. And we've got a couple ugly dogs in week 1 here. My first pick is going to be one of the ugly dogs, a team that most people are expecting to be one of, if not the worst team in the NFL this season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Baker Mayfield, they are playing the Minnesota Vikings this week, and they are +6. I'm taking Tampa Bay +6. Some justification for you here, because I know this is a hold your nose moment. And you need the numbers to feel good about this. The number is simply too high. So I don't think that Tampa Bay is a live dog here. I don't expect them to win this game. I do expect them to cover this game. And here's a couple of the reasons why. Brian Flores, the Vikings' new defensive coordinator, historically a heavy blitzer. That's actually not the way to get after Baker Mayfield. He is actually a better statistical quarterback when being blitzed, when more guys are sent after him than when you're getting natural pressure. That's the way to kill Baker Mayfield, is to cover and get after him with natural pressure, sending 4 guys, sending 3 guys. That's when he becomes a worse quarterback. So he's got a better touchdown to interception ratio when he's blitzed. Another reason, Tampa Bay, they still have a great wide receiver duo that as long as Baker can get it in their vicinity, I expect them to catch the ball. And I think that they'll be able to take advantage of I'd say the biggest weakness on this Vikings team, their secondary. That is the glaring hole. I think that there's going to be a mismatch all day long between the Bucs receiving room and the Minnesota secondary. If Baker Mayfield can just not throw the ball to the wrong team, then I think they're going to win in that element. And then Tampa Bay clearly still has the better defense than Minnesota. Their defense is still sneaky good. They've got sneaky great players on that defense. I don't think that Minnesota's going to have a cakewalk offensively in that game. They'll be on the field more, and so maybe they'll be more gassed by the end of the game, but the defense is simply better. By the way, speaking of Kirk, everyone talks about primetime Kirk. He's a disaster. Well, let me tell you another time he's a disaster, is when he's favored by 4 or more. When Kirk is a favorite of more than 4 points, he's 11, 18, and 1 all time, 38%. They're at home this week. You'd think that'd be a better split. It's a worse split. He's 31% at home as a favorite of more than 4 points. And a general stat about week 1 dogs of 6 or more points just in general cover historically at a 60% clip. So give me Tampa Bay +6.
Yeah, and I'm taking another ugly one as well here. I'm going to take Houston +10 against the Ravens.
Biggest number of the week.
It is
Love
the
it.
biggest number.
I was going to take this if you didn't take it. Love this bet.
But just like you said, like historically, dogs of 8 or more, especially when you get to double digits, have an insane clip on the week 1 here. They did this last week as well, or last year on week 1 as well, as an 8-point dog and took them to overtime. I think it's just because of how people understand this team from last year and not translating it to this season.
Well, because they're not, there's no tank potential for this team this year. They are not. They are rebuilding. They've got their guy. They've got their coach. They made 2 first-round picks. They kind of sold out and went in on this year's draft. They're trying to win now. They're in a rebuild, not a tank.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you look at C.J. Stroud in his first game, rookie QBs to start week 1 are 15-13 against the spread in the last 20 years.
Kind of surprising, by the way.
Kind of surprising, yeah, but like it's a lot of growing pains for both these teams. I feel like getting Lamar back out there, getting him connecting with his wide receivers, new wide receiver Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers,
who's on the injury report, by the way. I don't know if you saw this. He popped up on the injury report today with an ankle.
Mark Andrews as well, maybe being injured. It's just a lot of guys that
new OC, new offense that Lamar's never run. Yes,
exactly. So that's just why I am taking Houston to cover that giant.
You're not a live dog. Again, not a live dog, but to lose by less than 10, I think that's absolutely in play. I love that bet. My next bet, I'm taking the Cleveland Browns in a divisional matchup, another ugly one. Cleveland +2.5 against your Cincinnati Bengals. I think that these guys are a live dog here for a couple of reasons, but I do expect them to at least cover. JT, this is the 3rd straight year where Joe Burrow has missed significant time and reps in the preseason. And for injuries, for COVID, he's just not had a complete offseason to gel with his team. And you could argue because of that, the Bengals have gone 1-3 in their first 2 games the past 2 seasons. Starting slow, You know who they've lost to in that 4-game stretch, the first 2 games of the last 2 seasons? They've lost 3 games in their first 4, or in their first 4 total games. They lost to Mitch Trubisky, Andy Dalton, and Cooper Rush. So it doesn't take a juggernaut to beat this team early as of late. And so you hope and pray it gets to 3. Again, plus 2.5. I'm taking it at plus 2.5. I am spending a second mortgage on it if it gets to 3 or 3.5. Wouldn't shock me. I know that the Bengals are a very public side. I think the last I checked on the Action Network app, they are a 71% handle right now. So as the public walks right into this trap of picking Cincinnati in this game to win and cover, I think that number could go up to 3, and you slam that 3. But I'll take them at 2.5. Give me Cleveland plus 2.5.
Yeah, my next one I'm going to take here. I'm going to take the Giants plus 3.5 on Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys.
Another divisional game, by the way. And just in general, by the way, week 1 divisional dogs hit at a north of 60 clip as well. So
yes,
whenever we mention a divisional dog in week 1, it's usually money. It's usually dollar signs.
And to this credit, Cowboys here, straight up in their last 3 week 1 openers are 0-3 under Mike McCarthy and 1-2 against the spread. They start slow. There's a lot of new pieces on this team. Mike McCarthy's calling plays now. It's not Kellen Moore. I like Brian Dable in this squad here to make some noise and come out swinging. And definitely at plus 3.5, I think this game is closer than that. It ends in a field goal either way. That's why I like the Giants plus 3.5.
I like it. Hey, you got 13 minutes to place my next bet because I'm going with the Motor City Kitties. Give me Detroit plus 5.5. This is one of those lines we locked up earlier in the week. Right now, the live line is at 4. I'd still take it at 4. I don't love it at 4. I'd take it down to 3.5. I think they're going to win, or I think they're going to cover at least a field goal. I think that they are a live dog in this game. Absolutely, the Lions can win this game. But at 5.5, I loved that number. Once we heard I loved it at 6.5, actually. If I could have gotten 6.5, but the Travis Kelce news kept us from getting that. But give me Detroit plus 5.5. It's really, we've mentioned all of it, right? No Travis Kelce in this game. The only is it going to be a massive Kadarius Toney night? Is he going to be healthy for more than 3 snaps? We'll have to see. Is it going to be a Noah Gray night, the tight end that's going to be replacing Kelce? Is it going to be a Sky Moore night? Like, it's a lot of unknown for this team. And yeah, they have the best quarterback we've ever seen play the game wearing their jerseys. So maybe he just makes magic and still torches this team. Would it shock anybody? Not really. That being said, I am going to bet against him being able to be as incredible without his primary target getter and his BFF, Travis Kelce. Chris Jones, that defense, this Lions team, that offense, they love to run the ball. They've got a great offensive line. The Chiefs team without Chris Jones on their defensive line, not a great defensive line. Very run-on-able. I think that this may be a ground and pound fest for the Lions, rather, and that's kind of all they need. So, yeah, give all day long, give me Detroit plus 5.5.
My next one here, I'm going to take the Falcons playing the Carolina Panthers.
Dirty Birds.
They're right now minus 3.5.
First favorite we've mentioned so far.
First favorite we've mentioned, which is kind of a switch from last year. I remember I was taking a lot of
week 1. You got to go dogs though. Favorites. Week 1, you got to go dogs.
So I've learned a little bit here, but listen, this Carolina Panthers team, especially with this rookie quarterback, the situation they have right now, Adam Thielen might not go. DJ Chark might not go. Their really only viable option might be Miles Sanders this week. And also that offensive line might just counteract how bad Atlanta's run defense has been in the past. I like Bijan Robinson to absolutely tear up this Carolina Panthers team, especially if Brian Burns is not there this week. I think they win by a touchdown this week, especially in Bryce Young's first game. A lot of things can go wrong for this team very quickly. So that's why I'm taking Atlanta with minus 3.5.
I like that bet. My 4th bet, I'm going with Pittsburgh plus 2, another dog. Pittsburgh in week 1 is just always a tasty bet. I feel like they tend to be a dog. They tend to be a lot more buttoned up early, have it together. That Mike Tomlin culture, it makes a lot of sense. They are playing the San Francisco 49ers. They're at home, so they're a home dog in week 1. Very nice cover rate. There's a lot to like about this game. San Francisco getting Nick Bosa back puts a little bit of a wrench in the plan, but I think that Pittsburgh is a live dog to win this game outright. That's why I'm betting them at plus 2. I think that Kenny Pickett is going to make a pretty significant leap from year 1 to year 2. I think their offensive line has gotten better. I think that their passing game is going to be much improved. I think their defense is going to be another top 10 DVOA group, and out of the gate starts strong. I don't see any reason why they won't. I think it's really less my belief in Pittsburgh, although I do believe in Pittsburgh, and more my disbelief in San Francisco. I think Brock Purdy, defensive coordinators have had an entire summer planning on, you think the defensive coordinator in Pittsburgh's not been spending the last 5 months planning every single day on how to ruin Brock Purdy's life as an inexperienced quarterback? I think that he has, and I think that he will, and I think that this first game won't go nearly as smoothly as many are expecting it to for the 49ers. So give me Pittsburgh +2.
My final pick here, I am taking the Green Bay Packers at +1 in what is almost basically a pick'em game here.
Man. So the Packers still own the city of Chicago, that's what you're saying.
They might, man. It's just this team obviously has its struggles, right? I think this is a line telling of we don't know what Jordan Love is.
We don't know what this division is, to be fair. I think this division is all a jumbled mess.
We don't know what Justin Fields is. Like, we still don't
Neither
know
guy.
if
No,
he
you're totally
can
right.
pass the ball.
Well, if what we know about him is what he is, that's very concerning, right? We think we don't know because we're expecting him to take a big leap. But if Justin Fields is just running back Justin Fields, then you got a problem on your hands if you're Chicago.
I still really like the Green Bay defense. I like the weapons they have. Obviously, if Christian Watson isn't out there, that's puts a little hindrance in there. But it's going to be a close game, close enough that in this pick,
I think he'll play.
I'm leaning the Packers.
No, I like it. I think that's an outright pick. I think Green Bay winning that game is they're a live dog as well. I'd throw them in a underdog parlay. My final pick of this week's Best Bet Gauntlet. This is the one I have the hardest time stomaching because I believe it. The numbers are sound, but it's concerning to me. My heart says no. My brain says yes. I'm taking the Ponies. Give me Indianapolis +5 against Jacksonville. This is just a classic AFC South Week 1 game, right? The team that's supposed to be the worst in the division somehow upsets the team that's supposed to be the division favorite, be the best team in the division. We see it practically every year. Not sure how it happens, but I think this is too big a number. I've been talking about how I have no faith in the spine of this Jacksonville defense. I think that their pass rush is weak. Then their secondary, especially up the middle, up that spine, the linebackers and the safeties, really exploitable. And I think that this Colts team is going to be able to, if Anthony Richardson has any accuracy to him at all, exploit that more as a passer early on. He's not going to torch him, but I think he'll look better than people expect in that first game because that defense is exploitable. And I just don't think that the Jacksonville offense, as high-powered as it could possibly be, it is new. It's going to take some time to gel. It wouldn't shock me at all. And by the way, they can be run on. They were run on all last year, their defensive line. Their defensive line got worse. They're going to be able to be run on. If anything else, Anthony Richardson's going to be able to run the ball against this team. So, yeah, I think the numbers are sound. It's a pros Joe's game. If you look at the betting handle, Indianapolis +5. It's just too many points. So give me Indy +5 against Jacksonville. And that is it for our Best Bet Gauntlet. So to recap, JT taking 4 underdogs and a favorite. Tennessee +3, Houston +10, the Giants +3.5, Green Bay +1, and the lone favorite of the Best Bet Gauntlet this week, Atlanta -3.5. I've got Tampa Bay +6, Cleveland +2.5, Detroit +5.5, Pittsburgh +2, and Indianapolis +5. And that is the first installment of the Best Bet Gauntlet. I think both of you and I would be happy to go 3-2, 2-3, just survive week 1, get to week 2.
Really
just no 1-4s, no 0-5s, and I'll be happy. Week 1 is the hardest to bet. These lines are so sharp.